Okay. So I invite you to close your eyes and relax. We can take some deliberate inhalation and exhalations if you'd like, because doing that activates that relaxation response. That inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation. And noticing how that smooth rhythmic breathing activates, relaxes your body. And notice that sense of relaxation, so that aspect of relaxation in your mind state. Perhaps that peaceometer, like a thermometer, if your mind, the quality of your mind. And how deliberate, smooth, rhythmic breathing allows any agitation to settle. And you can allow your breathing to be natural. And when you sit down and close your eyes, now's the time to put the sense of you, the manager, the you, the worker, the mom, the daughter, the friend. All that is fired. It's on hold. It can go in the back seat. So for me, it was such a contrast because I had nothing to do, nowhere to go. No, I didn't even think about my kids. I think I had to check up on them a few times. But it was such a relief to give myself permission to enjoy a sense of inner freedom. And the only reason when we sit down now and close our eyes, there's nothing to think about, there's nothing to do, there's no kids, there's no mom, there's no friends, there's no job. And if we think about it, it's out of just habit, and also that habit reinforces the sense of self and ego. So the sense of ego and self only exists when we're thinking, when we're reaffirming our identity. That's something I noticed when having just the opportunity to spend time with the mind. How there's nothing to think about, but sometimes you think as an expression of, here I am, me, making an internal comment about something silly. And it takes courage. One of the things that I noticed also, the courage to say, no, I'm not going to go there. And just that decision and that change of perception that for this time when you sit, you'll notice that enjoyment that comes from lessening internal activity. But first we have to notice it. And in our life, we're so stimulated with like demands. So coming home, it was non-stop without getting like a proper sleep, non-stop demands, doing like the mommy mode is activated. Your mummies or the daughter or the worker or the friend or whatever, or the projects, it's activated. So it's just non-stop and we're used to that. So now it's just deciding, no, now we're going in a different direction. Reminds me, you probably heard that famous kind of simile where that historic Buddha, he put his bowl in the river and he said something like, if it goes against the stream of the world. So this is going against the stream of the world, because the world is always craving, doing, being, chasing pots of gold at the end of the rainbow. So now we're just stopping. And in order to stop, it's not through willpower, because willpower comes from ego. Like, I am going to stop doing. But that's just more doing. So it's just through practice It's just practice. Just keep on going. No blame. It's enjoying, allowing the mind to notice. So it's like noticing, appreciating, and just hanging out with stillness and inner peace. And then that grows by itself. So we'll allow ourselves that opportunity by, as usual, going through the body, because it gives you something to do. Pay attention to the body. And then let's gradually letting go. And what we're letting go of is interest in this human mind, which is processing information about the five senses and selfing. So it's just gradually letting go of this. I'm calling it the human mind because the human mind evolved, for survival and reproduction. So our nervous system kind of wired for survival. So we're letting go of all this, of interest in that. And then that's allowing that sense of consciousness, this awareness, to be more radiant and more pleasant. And then eventually, we can let go of that too. But let's start by being aware of our toes. So noticing the sensations in our toes. And it's very important. It doesn't matter what you're aware of. It's how you're aware of it. Because that's where the suffering lies. It's that relationship between, let's say, the observing and your toes. Is it like chatting about the toes, complaining about the toes, tension with the toes, or whatever? So also in the background, noticing that quality of your mind while you're aware of your toes. And it's very powerful. I was exploring a little bit with something called the divine abidings. It's quite common in all meditation practices, the sense of friendliness, kindness, and compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. And I noticed, maybe I'll bring that up later on, but not only is it helpful to add this element of kindness, because it sets the mind up easier, but also it decreases the ego, because it's boundless. There's no separation between yourself and others. And as long as you have an ego, you're going to have agitation in the mind. So adding this out, notice in your mindfulness, not only your toes, but that quality of mind. Is it soft? Is it tense? Kind of like the texture of your mind. And however it is, maybe soften your heart, have some acceptance, so that it leans more to a soft, peaceful, still. We're releasing any interest to want to change things, any craving, so that we have an element of softness and stillness. So being aware of our toes, and then being aware of the ball of our foot. You can notice if the temperature perhaps. So the craving part is we want to relax that, but we want to ensure that the knowing part is clear and aware. And having an element of interest increases that aspect of awareness and alertness. It's a gentle, interested alertness. And under the ball of the foot, you could notice maybe the heel. And leaving any thoughts that come in. It's none of your business now. You're giving until noon yourself for this practice of giving yourself permission to have some inner freedom, to let go of interest in anything. Like you're putting a sign, and outside this little pergola. You're out of order for the next hour. So you're like Teflon. Any thoughts of the past or the future, just slip off. None of your business. But remember, you're not even there to get rid of it. So there's no you there to try to get rid of it. You pretend there's no you. There's just thoughts are part of nature. They come because of causes and they'll fade away if you're not interested in them. Take you out of the picture. It's just nature doing its thing. It's like tiredness. It's just part of nature. It's none of your business. There's no you there to fix their tiredness. And you can't. You can't wave a magic wand saying, okay, mind, be happy now. Be peaceful now. You know, it takes its causes and conditions. And the best causes we place is getting out of the way. We take our hand out of the water, and then the water will become still because the hand just agitates it in its own time. So having that kind acceptance of things allows the sense of self to slowly vanish. Being aware under the calves and allowing the calves to relax. Being aware of the knees. And being aware of the thighs. The awareness of the body allows our body to relax, and when the body's relaxed, our mind is relaxed, and it's also giving the mind something to be aware of, to practice this non-selfing, this attitude of acceptance. Being aware of our tummy. And allowing our tummy to relax. Going up to your back. And the more the mind, so it's not you who lets go, it's the more the mind, it's mindfulness through wisdom that you've cultivated through practice. It's the mind that lets go. It lets go because it's realized it's shitty hanging on to this. So you're just allowing the mind to gain this experience that whenever there's thought, that feels tense. Like, how do you feel when you think those thoughts? It's like, it's endless, it's yucky. And then when you just allow them to release, fade away like mist, like clouds, fading, fading, there's this spaciousness, this peace, and you stay with that. And it doesn't stay like that forever. It actually opens up and the mind changes all by itself to very deep profundity, and it gets very, very nice. But it doesn't happen through will. Then you understand more about the nature of the mind, yourself, consciousness. But we have to have courage, and in the beginning, that patience, that the mind, the nature of the mind does, it is like that. That's the way things happen, is we stay still, relax, and the mind changes. Being aware of our back, and nobody's special. The mind is the mind for anybody. So being aware of the back and the shoulders, just allowing the shoulders to relax. Being aware of the arms, the elbows, the forearms, the wrists, going through each finger, noticing your thumbs, the second finger, the third, fourth, fifth. Allowing your mind to enjoy peace. Noticing a sense of settling, calmness, and hanging out with that. This is the key aspect. Most minds, let's say, we run around because we didn't get the idea in our upbringing, in our schools, to just stop. So we think about something, do something. It reinforces that sense of self. But now it's, hey, how about giving this a try? Pretend there's no self. You know, in neuroscience, we learned that this feeling of me is a product of neural, these computations, this neural processing. The body is represented in the brain, a representation of the body as it processes representation of things outside. Kind of gives this sense of me. And you can manipulate that in the lab. You can, the neural correlates. So I knew when studying the brain and the mind through looking at the brain that the sense of self is a construct, but it just ended as that. But here with this practice of meditation, it's putting it into practice, allowing that part of the mind to relax. And studies also showed that the more people think, it reinforces the sense of self, and then the more miserable they are. That's why these states of flow, or there's certain drugs, psychedelics, that decrease the selfing. But here we do it just through practice, and we don't depend on anything, and it's more profound because we gain experience and wisdom and understanding. But just having that encouragement to give it a try, letting go of your sense of you, not needing to control, because you manifest by controlling the mind. It's not even your meditation. Don't try to meditate. That's just more ego. Just give up all that and just be. When I'm on retreat, I never fall asleep when I meditate. I don't know, I just don't, because I'm alone, I don't have anything to do. So the mind naturally clears up and is brightened. But when I got home, I was jet lagged, I slept overnight 2 hours, and I thought, I sat down with the kids all around, and I thought, okay, I'll meditate. Straight to sleep. And that's just part of nature. It just means the body is tired, and that's normal. You'll hear Ajahn Brahm saying that as well in his retreat. The first few days, it was just, allowing the body to do its thing. So however your mind is a result of how you've used it before. Whether it's restless, thinking, Just have the sense of none of my business. I'm not there to control it. Allow it to be. And notice that it's much more peaceful, that texture of ease, when you're not there to call the shots. And just hang out in that attitude. So we're in the neck, allowing the shoulders and neck to relax. And what about the jaw? Be aware of the jaw. And allow the jaw to relax. Release around the eyes, the forehead. And the brain, even though we can't sense the brain, pretend all the activity is settling. There's less and less activity. And open your heart. Embrace with kindness. However this moment is manifesting. Just stay in stillness and contentment. Notice any sense of peace in your mind. Feel the texture of your mind. Like any sense of relief, softness. Have some kindness to that. This is more than, I don't expect anything, I don't want anything. This is good enough for me. Because there's no me there. Take you out of the picture. This moment just is. And it's so much easier when you're not there, isn't it? When you're not there, there's no liking or disliking or craving. All that comes from this sense of you. But you're not there, so there's nothing to crave. The moment just is. Now, noticing that texture of peace and softness, ease. What if you hang out with it a little bit? Just relax. And if the mind, notice if the mind moves or bubbles up any selfing, like thoughts, you recognize it for what it is. This ego or thoughts or whatever, wanting to assert its existence. Here I am. It does that through this mental movement. And when you see it for what it is, you're not feeding it. So by not feeding it, it's like if you don't add fuel to the fire fades away and is gone all by itself. Just relax in stillness. So what you're aware of is that quality of peace. Just hang out with that. So when you're hanging out in stillness, you may notice your breathing. I don't know if it's just because I've been practicing for a while. My mind just automatically notices the breathing. Or because there's nothing else moving, you may notice the breathing, and it's quite soothing. You're allowing awareness of the breathing. You're mindful along with the breathing. And you're allowing that to relax you, keep you present. It's not necessary to be aware of the breathing. It's just popular because it's when you're sitting, what else is there? Breathing. When we were babies, we were aware of the breathing. And also the breathing is very much correlated with our physiology. It's like with our bodily state. So if we're calm, the breathing calms down. Anyway, somehow awareness of breathing is quite popular, but there's other things you can be aware of, such as even peace or kindness or just being still. There's like a color or but if you're okay with being aware of the breathing, you can be aware of that. But being aware of anything can allow the mind to vanish more into deeper stillness. So while I'm going to guide awareness of the breathing, if the mind doesn't want to do that, you can just be in stillness. Or if it's very agitated and you need to be aware of the body, then see where you're at and see what leads you. Like you're the only one who has that internal compass. What allows your mind to feel more at ease and free and peaceful. You have access to your mind. So whatever leads to the sense of ease, peace, and you feel it's right. It's like the mind is just nature. It feels good when we allow it to be still. We just have to get out of the way and allow this process to happen all by itself without the self getting in the way. So if you're aware of the breathing, you can soften your heart with kindness, like I'm so happy to just be aware of the breathing now. Oh, what a relief. Like a holiday. if you notice your mind, any outflowings of your mind, any movement in your mind, that's just a manifestation of the sense of you, which is normal because we built up a sense of self since we were young. Like, this is me. So it has habit that we gradually practice. You don't buy into it. By not buying into it, it gradually fades. And we appreciate and notice any spaces of silence. And one important thing is having trust that you don't have to do the meditation. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to change the mind. Really, just have trust. Give this attitude a try for the time when you sit. You're not needed in this meditation. It's nothing about you. So having a sense of trust, confidence, give it a try. Like really butt out. Whatever state you're in, leave it alone. Don't try to make it any different than it is. Just be with whatever state your mind is in. And it'll change by itself. After sometimes it may get worse before it gets better, in the sense that if you're really tired, you may fall asleep. That's biological. But eventually, after you get out of that, then there's a different sense of clarity and ease, and then eventually it gets quite blissful, and then eventually the bliss vanishes, and you get all these insights about the nature of the mind. But the whole process is leaving the mind alone. The meditation's not yours. The mind's not your business. It's so against the grain. But this process, it works. So just leave it. And then it'll change all by itself through patience, through practice. And then you're at ease. You can be with your mind, and you'll learn how we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. That's why people watch rubbish on TV or get addicted. It's just creating unnecessary suffering, but it reinforces the sense of ego. We don't have to. We can let all that go and be free. But the trade-off is that there's less and then no self in there. So it's once you've had enough or you've seen through, and you give it a try. Just leave it alone. You don't even have to be aware of the breathing if it's not comfortable. But when the mind is at ease and then the awareness of breathing is comfortable, then that allows it also to go deeper. If you want, you can try being aware and having an anchor, breathing one and then breathing out one, allowing the breathing to be natural, breathing in 2, out 2, all the way to 10, and then back to 1. You notice your mind want to interfere, just stop. Enjoying stillness. If you notice your mind talk, shh, not now. Give yourself the opportunity to be silent. Our whole lives we've been blah blahing inside. So if we want different results, just go a different direction. Stopping doing, stopping selfing. Just stop and taste. That's a taste of freedom and ease. That stillness. And just hang out with that. Be there. Don't mess it up with a commentary or thought about it. Just be quiet. and enjoy any taste or texture of that still mind. And when enjoys contentment, the contentment deepens all by itself. It's like it starts to bite, as if you're fishing, and then once the meditation starts to bite, so to speak, then you're off. But it takes in the beginning that restraint of getting involved. Just enjoy contentment. Maybe when you're content in stillness, then maybe if you want to explore being aware of your breathing, you can. Just notice that I was just still. I wasn't aware of my breathing when I was talking. But then that sense of that lightness, that delight of being in the moment, the now, like starts to get nice and delightful. Then it's so easy to be aware of the breathing. And then awareness of breathing just allows the five senses to vanish from awareness. But I think the more time you just spend on the foundations, then the rest will be easy. I think in the first few years I was just practicing contentment. But everyone's different, so we never, ever, ever, ever compare. But I'm just sharing so that you check in, and all you have is your like your peaceometer, your compass, and you know what leads to more ease and freedom. So it's not a method, maybe that method doesn't resonate with you, or it's not what your mind needs. So if your mind is feeling more free, more at ease, more clear, you just carry on. And these methods are just, the method isn't the meditation. The meditation is the stillness, the vanishing, the peace. The method is giving your doer, your ego, a lollipop, like just something to be aware of, so it doesn't create unnecessary suffering. You can try maybe this kindness. I thought maybe I'll introduce. There's 8 more minutes. But at the end, maybe pretend you have this sense of just this friendliness, this joyful wish for there to be just freedom of any suffering. That's boundless. There's no you in the picture. It's just a sense of friendliness, this kind of joyful wish for us all to be free from suffering, from this existential suffering of being. Just that there is a possibility to be free from that. And it lightens the heart. And you're aware of that intention, and you allow it to shine out. It's like you have curtains around, but you open the curtain, so you let it shine out. Wherever it shines, it's okay. However strong it is, it's okay. You just let it shine out in the front direction. You open up the curtain to the side, to your right side. let it shine out. Doesn't matter where it shines. Just radiating out like a sunshine. Doesn't even matter how strong the sun is. Opening up the back curtain, radiating it out. You're not making it radiate out. You're just opening up so that it naturally flows out. You're just unleashing. You're releasing any constraints. You're letting go. You're opening up. So whatever friendliness, kindness you have in your heart, you're allowing it to shine out through the left and in all directions all around. And you're just bathing now. And to yourself, whether you're coughing, you were sick, it's all right. It's okay. I'm part of nature. Just the body doing body stuff. And then just being that texture and mode condition of the mind. Not doing it, just being it, bathing it. Noticing also that sense of emptiness in it. It's a powerful, still emptiness. But it's so profound in warmth and kindness. No selfing or others. It's just all around. And just linger and hang out in the texture, the state of your mind, the contentment and ease, and the warmth. Really valuing. Allow your mind to see mind. Nurturing and watering the flowers, and then the flowers grow. You don't pull out the flower, that just kills them. You just attend. Notice these good qualities, and then they naturally grow. Noticing how you feel now compared to when you first came in, and how that agitation is. Like, you notice when you start now burdening your mind with selfing and controlling and worrying, all that is a burden. It's yucky. When you don't have to. Obviously, when you use your mind, you use it. But when you don't have to, you don't have to. Then the mind recognizes. It doesn't always have to have internal monologue. It notices how does it feel when it's having that. It's tight, it's yucky. So then the mind lets go of it. Lets go of it. Because it notices it's inferior. Like it's not a place to hang out in. It hangs out in peace. And then when it needs to work, it works. And then when it doesn't need to, it could let it go. Hopefully you can maybe spend some time every day just being with your mind and relaxing, allowing yourself to tap into this inner peacefulness and stillness. And however much it's okay. I just encourage you to just do it. Just put in the time whenever you can. You can decide for yourself. So then it's a habit. Okay, it's 11:59. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes.